The content of this meeting is being sent to third party. Got it. Okay, Prabhu. Should I
Yes,
start?
yes, Prabhu.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुमीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining today's Srimad Bhagavatam reading. So today we are reading, I think Prabhu said, it is third canto, 20th chapter, 7 and 8 shlokas. So we'll read it. एवम् उग्रस्रवः प्रस्था ऋषिभिर्नैमि सायनै भगवती अर्पितध्यात्मा तान् आह श्रूयात्मा इति। Synonyms. Evam, thus, Ugrasravaha, Suta Goswami, Prastha, being asked, Rishibhihi, by the sages, Naimisharanya, who were assembled in the forest of Naimisha, Bhagavati, unto the Lord, Arpita, dedicated, Adhyayatmaha, his mind, Tan, to them, Aha, said, Sruyatam, just here, iti, thus. Translation. One being asked to speak by the great sages of Naimisharanya, the son of Romaharshana, Suta Goswami, whose mind was absorbed in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, said, Please hear what I shall now speak. So on this particular shloka, there is no purport because just it is saying Suta Goswami is going to talk. So now let's go to 8th shloka. Suta uvacha हरेर्द्राता क्रोध तनो स्वमायाया निशाम्य घोर उधारानां रसातलात् लीलां हिरण्याक्षम् अविज्ञाय हतं संजाता हर्षो मुनीनाम् आह भारता. What the word meaning? Suta uvacha, Suta said, Harehe, of the Lord, Dratha, who had assumed Krodha of a boar, Tanoho, body, Swamaya, by his divine potency, Nishamya, having heard Goh of the earth, Udharanam, uplifting, Rasatalat, from the bottom of the ocean, Leelam, sport, Hiranyaksham, the demon Hiranyaksha, Avajnaya, neglectfully, Atam, killed, Sanjata, Harshaha, being overjoyed, Munim, to the sage, Maitreya, Aha, said, Bharata, Vidura. Translation. Suta Goswami continued, Vidura, the descendant of Bharata, was delighted to hear the story of the Lord, who having assumed by his own divine potency, by his own divine potency, the form of a boar, had enacted the sport of lifting the earth from the bottom of the ocean and indifferently killing the demon Hiranyaksha. Vidura then spoke to the sages as follows. So, just a beginning. So, uh, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. It is stated here that the Lord assumed the form of a boar by his own potency. His form is not actually the form of a conditioned soul. A conditioned soul is forced to accept a particular type of body by the higher authority of material laws. But here it is clearly said that the Lord was not forced to accept the form of a boar by external power. In Bhagavad Gita, the same fact is confirmed. When the Lord descends to this earth, he assumes a form by his own internal potency. The form of a Lord, therefore, can never consist of material energy. The Mayavada version that when Brahman assumes a form, the form is accepted from Maya is not acceptable. Because although Maya is superior to the conditioned soul, she is not superior to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She is under the control of the Supreme Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya is under his superintendence. Maya cannot overcome the Lord. The Mayavada idea that the living entity is the supreme absolute truth but has become covered by Maya is invalid because Maya cannot be so great that it can cover the supreme. The covering capacity can be employed on the part and parcel of Brahman, not on Supreme Brahman. The covering capacity can be employed on the part and parcel of Brahman, not on the Supreme Brahman. Hare Krishna. So we are reading today the 7th and 8th slokas of Bhagavatam in Canto 3 and 20th chapter. So the two slokas, 7th, there is not much and there is no purport. So we'll try to um, look into the 8th sloka. So in this verse, when we look at Prabhupada wanted highlight the supremacy of the Lord, meaning how the Paramatma is different from the conditioned soul Atma. And then further, Prabhupada also extended defeating the Mayavada philosophy. So if we look at Prabhupada's lectures, consistently Prabhupada was so heavy on this Mayavada philosophy because he's a great acharya and he knows the need of the scattering or dismantling the philosophy that is not in the welfare of the jivas. So here the word very important or emphasis Prabhupada has given Swamayaya, Swamayaya, by his divine potency, not by any other. So, like Jivas, we don't have the capacity to take the birth in the form that we want, or the form, the body form that we would like to have. That is not possible within our capacity. But whereas it is not impossible for the Supreme Lord. So in one of the lectures, Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord can do anything and everything. Because often we say, okay, the Lord has done that and he couldn't do this. That's not true. Lord can do anything. He can be infinitely smallest and smallest, insignificantly this smallest and smallest. But at the same time, he can be infinitely the largest and large also. So he can be both. He can be insignificant, he can be significant also. So that is the large capacity. So that's not possible for us. So here, Prabhupada also says regarding the um, the the body that the Lord assumes or descends on the Bhuloka or planet Earth is not like the same body as like us. And also an extension to that one is also his pastimes are also not same as Jiva's pastimes or Jiva's activities, and which is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. So why we take Bhagavad Gita as our reference or as our confirmation for most of the things? Why? Because it is spoken by the Lord Himself. See, if a commentator is commenting on something, maybe there is some benefit of doubt. But when the Lord, who is the source of the source, he doesn't have any source, that person himself is speaking and uttering. So there is no need of any further validations. And therefore, we always highlight and take the references from Bhagavad Gita to emphasize and to confirm our thought process. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the in the fourth chapter, ninth sloka, the Lord says, "Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna." What it means is, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in his material world, but attains my eternal abode. Oh, Arjuna, look at this. The Lord is saying, not only you recognize and understand that my activities are not mundane, are not same as activities of the jiva. So that itself recognition is putting us in a situation where we can go back to the Godhead. We can go back to the Goloka. So how that happens? See, for example, when we think something, there are so many other thoughts come to the mind. But when we hear the Lord saying that acknowledging and truly understanding, truly believing that the Lord's activities are not mundane, are not superficial, are activities equal to the jivas. That itself is a passport for us to go back to the our original hope. Now, how can that happen? It's not just happen, right? We are jivas, and then we have so many thoughts comes. So one after the other, a defeating, contradicting thoughts come. So it only possible for bhaktas who are constantly in sadhana, doing these sacrifices and performing these practices. That way, the contamination, the life after life, the contaminated nations happen to us can be eradicated. And then we can unallowingly, without any motivation, we can love the Supreme Lord. So that is one thing. The Lord, in this particular sloka, the Lord assumes this so-called body of boar by his own internal potency, not by any means. So that is what it is saying. And another thing is aham brahmasmi. We say aham brahmasmi, right? So here, but we don't say aham param brahmasmi. We only say aham brahmasmi. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, even in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has confirmed that मम एवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः. He said, we are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Yes, we are part and parcel. So often we hear the simple comparison for our own understanding that we have the characteristics of the Supreme Lord, but qualitatively we may be same, but quantitatively we cannot. How if you take a drop from the ocean, it is also salty, and even the entire ocean put together is also salty. So the character of that taste is similar, but when you compare the size, the volume of the drop from the ocean is not same as the entire ocean. Similarly, we jivas can never be equal to Supreme Lord. So that misconception we have to put aside. That is very important because sometimes I was growing in India, on the backside of the rickshaws or the autos, you see, right? You are God, I am God, we are all gods. How can we can gods? I am not even able to understand what is happening in my body. Forget about anything else. I can't stop my nails growing. I can't stop growing my beard. Isn't it? If it is that is how, then we don't need to shave so much, spend time on this every often. We can't do that. But whereas, look at Krishna. Have you ever seen Krishna's picture holding a stick and walking like an old man? No, we never saw that one, and we never see that one. Why? Because he can. We have seen his childhood through youth, but after that, that's it. Because he can stop. His body is transcendental, meaning when often we use this transcendental word. The transcendental world means beyond this, the material is transcendental. Beyond this material means we don't have the bandwidth to visualize beyond this uh, material. So we cannot imagine. So, however, we can understand from our Acharya's commentaries and words. So that is very important to note that the, the essence of this sloka is we jivas, we don't have any control about what body I want to get in my next life. But whereas Supreme Lord, he does take any body as he wishes. Maybe Maya Devi the, makes all arrangements because she is the subordinate. She is the he is the supreme master, and she is the servant of the supreme master. So she makes all the arrangements. But we should not be under the influence saying that because of his coming to the material world, he assumes a material body. So that fundamentally we have to see that Supreme Lord takes his form or body as he wishes because of his internal potency. That is clearly different from jivas, and we don't have control. Say, if I want to take a body in my next life, no. At the most, yes, because of the quality, the jiva may contemplate it and he may perform austerities to get his body or whatever wishes. Because, right, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. See, in next life, whatever I want, at that time of death, whatever our thought process, whatever we are thinking, that is going to manifest. So it is very important that why we perform this sadhana regularly. Every day we have to chant 16 rounds, and we have so many rules and regulations. Why? Now, one thing, it is my understanding, or at least it is helping me. This way of thinking. See, often we think of this, we do this papa and punya. In terms of a papa and punya, it is one way, but all the regulation don'ts are to remind us that we are not eternal here. We did not come to the material world to live here permanently. Once our clocks ticks and the time comes, we have to leave this body. So these austerities will help us. Forget about Papa Punya. See, always when we perform, this is Papa, oh, is it? Is it? We don't want to be in that constantly in that mood of bewilderment. Oh, morose. No, today, see our consciousness. That is what is important. Srila Prabhupada, when he named his organization International Society for Krishna Consciousness, see, the consciousness is what is important. Say today, certain things I may not be performing to the ritual, to the exact way that is prescribed in Shastras. That's okay. No problem. Don't lose your patience and that don't morose and then don't be. See, as a jiva, we are what we are Sachitananda, right? We are Anand, eternally Anand, eternally happy. So constantly bewildering all about this Papa Punya is another way to um, go, I mean, think about it, because most often people who think Papa Punya, they want to aspire for, okay, after this life, I want to go to Swargaloka or maybe Moksha, no more birth and death cycle, right? They think. But Bhakta, see, this is very interesting and shocking in the beginning when I came to ISKCON, because that's the first time I heard that a bhakta doesn't care whether he goes to the hell or goes to the Swargaloka or heaven, because the bhakta always wants, oh Lord, I am your servant. Use me however you want, fit to your needs. That is the ultimate thing a bhakta wants. He doesn't care. Look at this pastime. We are the followers of gopis, right? Now, it is probably you know this pastime. One time when Lord Krishna, when he had a headache, and then all his Ishta Sakis, all the Sakis were wondering, and they were also worried. My Lord is suffering from the headache, and they called everybody, the the Vaidya, and then he performed, and he said it is very difficult to get rid of this headache. The only way it can be relieved is when the dust from his devotee is applied on. Then, then all the Sakis, they were reluctant to give. They refused to give because they thought applying their feet dust onto the Supreme Lord is an offense, right? It's an offense. And that Papa they don't want to incur, so they have refused. So, like this, the word has spread all over the city, and none of them in the city were willing to give that. Even Narad Muni, I think, comes here during that time. He was also didn't want to do that because the consequences are dire. So, who want to bear the consequences? So, somehow this word has spread it to the Gokul, and their gopis, then when they realized that, when they heard that their um, Lord is suffering from the headache, and then the solution, they immediately said, no, we are ready to give our dust. Please go ahead and take however much dust you want, take us. Take here the dust and apply on the Supreme, I mean, on the Krishnas. We don't care what happens to us. See, that bhava is what is more important than any other thing. See, if we look at our activities, see, constantly these activities are performed in the material world. Now, see, in after reading, after hearing so many things, now if you look at Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and all these demons, who are they? If you look at the who are there in their past life, they are Jaya Vijay. They are the Supreme Lord's ardent devotees. But they have came on to, I mean, come down to the material world to enact the pastime. So, in all essence, it is the way I look at it is the Lord wants perform these activities, demonic or whatever the activities, for His pleasure. If we understand that, we'll be at rest, peaceful in our lives. Constantly, problems keep coming. What problems? Janma, Mrityu, Jaravadi, right? These are the most and the difficult problems that we all suffer. And these problems for everybody. So we will be relieved. Okay, we will be relieved from all these tensions. Oh, what this way happened today? I don't have job. Oh, what is the how the economy is going out? Right? Constantly, when you hear the news, the only thing out of the news you get is all the problems in this world, because the media very well knows that they can get good traction only the sad news. Happy news won't last for long. That's the reason we are always constantly worried about what happens for tomorrow. Why? When we understand this wholly, when we practice this, yes, I am here as part of this whole Leela. Let me, Krishna, whatever way you want to use me, I am happy. All I can request is give me the strength, wisdom to face these challenges, to tackle these challenges. That's all my prayer. If things come, so be it. But at least, like Kunti Maharani, we are not asking for the problems, at least. But devotees of that strong faith in Krishna, they can ask. But at least now at my stage, I don't need to ask, okay, please don't make any problems, or don't give me any problems, or make my life is so happy. No. Whatever is according to our karmas is going to happen inevitably, whether you do it or not. So instead, all you have to beg is, I beg is, Krishna, please give me the strength, wisdom, intelligence to face the challenges in the life. That's it. So here in this sloka, as Prabhupada is highlighting, and the sloka highlights that the Lord takes the by his own will whatever the body he wants, and which is not possible for us. The another thing is um, Prabhupada emphasized in the purport the Mayavada philosophy. Why he wants, because the most easiest way to attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord is by devotional service. So, and Srila Prabhupada says Mayavad. So, how can the, the superintendent of Maya, Durga Devi, can be more powerful than the Supreme Lord? No, it's not. So, the analogy, one way we can look at is the flower fragrance is coming. We all get attracted and we appreciate that. But the fragrance cannot be superior to the flower. See, if the flower is not there, where is the question of the fragrance? Similarly, the source is always superior to the anything comes out of it. Therefore, the Supreme Lord, who is the source of everything, because we also say in the Brahma Samhita, right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Sarva Karana Karanam is a cause of all causes. There is no cause for him, right? So such personality cannot be compared, cannot be lower in power with any other thing. So that thing Prabhupada was emphasizing. So another thing is also, right? Now, Lord can sometimes the material nature, right? We can't alter the nature of anything in this material. Say, for example, fire. What its nature to burn is the nature of the fire. And similarly, sun, can anybody stop sun coming out? No. But whereas the Lord can change the properties or the character of the material elements, He can do anything because, as Prabhupada and as Shastra says, there is nothing the Lord cannot do. Now, in the case of Prahalad, look at that. If we look at the past tense of the Prahalad, Prahalad was put on fire thinking that the, his father wanted him to burn to ashes because he's not listening. He's all the time taking Narayana, Narayana. So whereas he want to be, his father wanted because he has conquered the entire world, all the lokas, and so he wanted to his son to glorify him. But the bhakta Prahlad knows that he's not. He got his powers from the Supreme Lord. So he couldn't, he is careless. He couldn't, his father couldn't scare him. So finally he thought, okay, let me put him into the fire. The fire could not do anything. Even though the character of the fire is to burn anything that falls into it, it cannot because Supreme Lord can protect. So the Lord can change anything. So what to speak? So in an essence, what we are saying, what Shastra is saying, you cannot be Krishna. You cannot be Krishna, but you can be Krishnas, right? The Lord himself says, Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So we should be proud of it. Never say, I mean, this, that. We are proud. We should be. Then the qualities, because as we said, the qualities can be same, but the qualities cannot be quantitatively, we cannot be same. So gradually we can nurture that the strength, the character, our qualities of can be, we should improve. So another thing is, and another Bhagavad Gita sloka, where the Supreme Lord says, see, if I do some activities, it has to result in karma. Karma means action and reaction. It has to result in something, either punya or papa. So whereas the Supreme Lord in the fourth chapter, 14th sloka, he says, Namam Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spraha iti mam yo bhajanti karmabhirna sabhadyate. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reaction of work. Here you look at. See, now when we look at sometimes in the society, we hear that pastimes, right? Oh, Krishna has done this and that. So that is lack of knowledge or lack of deep understanding of the Shastras. They comment like that. Oh, Krishna performed rasa dance, right? Then they take, but they also try to imitate that dances. Well, if Krishna performed rasa dance, Krishna also lifted with his pinky hand the Govardhan hill. Can you do that? So it is very foolish that on commentators giving such comments. So we have to honor and understand that the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. And he says clearly, see, bluntly. See, one thing I like about Bhagavad Gita is the Supreme Lord eating no here and bushes. He is very clearly, bluntly says, yes, boss, nothing can contaminate me. Nothing, there is no karma for me. So that is what we want. If we look at the whole scriptures, there is no, in another form, the Lord has revealed that so boldly. Because if we, another thing, I always compare between the Rama avatar and the Krishna. So in Rama avatar, all the morals and codes that we have to live. So as jivas, we can see the pastimes of Ramayana, and we are supposed to conduct our life according to those pastimes and whatever that essence that we get from there. But whereas in the Krishnava, when Krishna descended, you cannot enact, you cannot. Krishna, when Krishna comes, he says, I don't care what it is, all the material elements, what it is. I am the supreme, I can do whatever. Because he's a supreme, he can do. But whereas in the Rama avatar, he comes as a human being and humanly things he does. So that is we have to clearly understand. And that's a clear distinction. And in Bhagavad Gita is clearly establishes because I may say, oh, I can do this and that. I can fake so many things. But in fact, can I do? I'm able to do that? No. So similarly, in this material world, people may say anything, but that only may stand to little extent. Say some may say, I'm so rich. He may be rich relatively to me or relatively to others in the society, but he cannot be absolute rich, right? He wants maybe some things. But whereas the Lord Narayana, he is the Lakshmi Pati, he is the husband of the Lakshmi, and who is in charge of the wealth. So he wants everything, right? Everything manifests by him. So he is the supreme. So we can't even think about that. And he is beyond these karmic reactions. So that is the one thing we have to understand. And then okay, so the Maya is so powerful. Then how do we get over this? Is there any solution? See, that is also provided. The solution is already provided in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, so many places it is said, right? And before that, um, the Lord clear-cutly says what is this purpose of the life and what we should do. 15 chapter 15 sloka. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishta mattah smritirjnanamapohanancha vedesya sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. The final sentence of this line of the sloka is very important. He says, the essence of the whole Vedic literature is to know me, right? You may read the entire Vedic literature compiled or written by the Vedavyas. But the entire that literature is to give us the understanding about that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord and he is the what we have to aspire to reach him. So he is the essence. He to know him is the whole essence. So it doesn't matter how many PhDs we do, how many literature we read. If that understanding is not there after reading the entire thing, it is useless. right? We also know that the the professor and the boatman story, right? So once the boatman, there was a uh, river, and one professor want to go to a village, and but he has to pass the river. So for that, he need a boat. So there was a boatman, and he asked, "Okay, what happened? Um, can you take me to that side?" He says, "No problem, come now." So while they were passing or crossing the river, then the professor wanted, he felt a little bit ego looking at the boatman. Look at this person. He's doing the mundane job. And whereas, look at me, I know all the things. So he wanted, you just have some fun with him. So he said, do you know science? He says, no. So he says, okay, your 25% of your life is wasted. Then he says this formula, Newton's third formula, He says, no, I don't. 50% of your life is gone. Then he says, for another, do you know how this boat works? What is the whole mechanism? He says, no, I just throw this and it goes. Then he says, okay, your 75% of the life is gone. Then around that time, thunders, and it's all of a sudden, the rain started literally pouring, and the boat was wiggling, and anytime it can flip. Then the boatman asks, "Do you know swimming?" The professor says, "No, no, 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 I don't know." Then boatman says, "Your 100% life is gone." So such is the situation. So in when we read Shastra from an academic point of view, what is the point? Without knowing the essence of that, what is the point in life after life? Sorry, years and years spending on that? There is no use. That is the reason Srila Prabhupada very, very um, emphatically gave us the essence in every page of his translations. Bhagavad Gita. So if you look at Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes bhakti, devotion right from the page one. Why? Some may can't say that, oh, you guys say as it is, but Srila Prabhupada highlights devotional activities, devotional service, its importance right from the page one. Yes, because who knows when the life goes. So Prabhupada want to give that essence to us. Even if you read one shloka, you should get the whole essence. Of course, out of our own curiosity and to strengthen our faith, we read the entire thing. But the essence is uttered, revealed in every purport of Srila Prabhupada. That is the compassionate nature of a devotee. Not everybody does. Now, look at the ads. Sometimes they come up with these ads and even YouTube ads, right? They say, okay, do this and that, and we will get you uh, what is that? They say the 5 ways to make money, right? In that ad. But do they give the all the 5 ways or at least one way how to make money? No, that's just to make us drag into their training program where they're not doing any charity. You have to pay, and then they are when you subscribe the subscription through the subscriptions they get money. In material world, everything is vested interest. Nobody does anything free of cost out of compassion. But whereas our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada came to this country giving freely. He didn't come to America to gain anything. He came to America to give something. He's, he came to this country to give, not take. That is the beauty. So that is the reason Srila Prabhupada in every purport, he emphasizes the absolute truth and the essence so that at least if you read that one purport, that is enough. You don't need to spend so much reading everything. Well, it doesn't mean that I'm saying you should not be reading Bhagavatam. No, because we are jivas. Our faith improves or strengthens by more and more. But the essence is in every purport. Srila Prabhupada emphasizes thinking that even if that purport is the last purport that I read, I should gain the whole essence. and I should get the benefit. That is the compassion, supreme compassion we can't see in this material world. Now, and finally, this Maya, because in essence, Prabhupada emphasized defeated Mayavada philosophy. In the sense, he wanted to attract the easiest path for achieving the supreme absolute truth. So, in the which is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter 14th sloka. दैवी एष गुणमयी मम माया धुरत्यया माम एव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायाम एतां तरन्ति ते. The translation: the divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So the Lord Himself is saying, this Maya is not that easy. It's very, very difficult. Even life after the life, if we take life after the life, also it's not easy. Even somewhere in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, there are so many people are doing so many things, austere practices they are doing, but out of all them, only one reaches me. He is underlying how difficult this Maya, but at the same time, he is giving simple clue and a beautiful clue. He says, those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross behind it. The formula is just surrender to me. Even the 18th chapter, the last sloka, he says, right? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tva sarva papebhyo moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. He's guaranteeing, forget about everything, just surrender unto me. I will take away all your sins. Such a beautiful sloka to be meditated every day, every minute. Forget about every. Often we get into this cycle of papa, punya. Forget about ditch them. Just develop the conscious of He is the Supreme Lord. How I can serve Him. When we serve, everything will manifest in our lives and we are taken back to His abode. When we go to His abode, there is nothing to worry. See, for Bhakta, whether they are in the Goloka or whether they are in the Bhuloka, for them there is no difference because the underlying conscious, they are in the same, right? See, people who are in that mode, see, often problems, the so-called problem is a problem the way we look at it. Things can happen, but devotees think, oh, things can happen. Even things could have happened very bad, very, 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 very bad, right? But we are very graceful to the Supreme Lord. We are very grateful to the Supreme Lord because it's simply instead of leaving, I mean, causing so much damage, it's only tiny damage happened to me. That perception is very important. That is the only thing. What is there in this life every day? Things happen. Raat gaya, baat gaya. These are the things. Nothing is eternal. Having that detachment is very important. And this sloka we should remember 7.14, right? Always, it is easy for us to overcome this Maya or whatever this material thing for us when we take surrender, when we surrender ourselves to the Supreme Lord. So to be surrendered to the Supreme Lord, you don't need to be rich, you don't need to be intelligent person, you don't need to be beautiful, you don't need to be anything. You don't need to have literally any opulence. All you have to have is that mood, that bhava, that consciousness. Every day we perform all the activities to improve, to strengthen our consciousness. What are our conscious? It could be material conscious or it can be Krishna conscious. We have to choose. So, having said that, in summary, in this particular sloka, it is emphasized that the Supreme Lord has taken the form of both by his own providence, by his own choice. There is no other influence. But whereas Jivas, we do not have that luxury. Then second point, Prabhupada in the purport defeats and underlines the Mayavada philosophy, meaning that we are not this body, but we are the servants of the Supreme Lord. So, having said this, these are the two main points Prabhupada wanted to highlight. And then, finally, what is the solution? How we can overcome this Maya or anything by improving our consciousness? So, just surrendering onto the Supreme Lord is the solution for us to overcome all these problems, to overcome all these material problems or any other problems. Just that is a formula for us to go back to the Supreme Godhead. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. And I will stop here. And I wish you a happy Krishna conscious Sunday. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.